Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Unfortunately, my guest Perry is trying to get on, and because of possibly it might be the snow and the weather in Sun Valley, she's having a hard time getting on. So we were going back and forth before we jumped on. So instead of having you wait at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're ready to learn day 4 now of how to find the money, and I actually think this is such a unique moment because I actually had nothing prepared other than interviewing Perry because of the fact that this woman has, I could even read this to you, it's such a trip. This is why I was so inspired. She goes, she created products from QVC and borrowed money from her boyfriend for a hair product that they called Rapid. She borrowed 5,000 then the first time, and then they sold it on air and sold 10,000 units and made $200,000 off that $5,000 that she borrowed from her boyfriend, which is an interesting story because I remember when I started, I borrowed $5,000 from some guy who wanted to take me out on a date, and I paid him interest back 30%, which I talked about on day one of this 5 days to find on how to find the money. But I wanted, like, hopefully, it looks like she might be able to join. It looks like it might be trying to connect right now. But another thing that she did was that she had a new company, High Heels and Loafers, that they produced 3 major infomercials on, and makeup, hair, and skincare celebrities. And then all that led her to be on E Entertainment and work for that company. And it all, like, she was basically, what I'm trying to share with you is that, like, there's all these moments with trying to create what it is that we want that pop up. There's all these moments that we run into these walls, and it's like, what are we going to do to create it? You know, there's somebody who is, Barry, are you live now? I don't know. You look like you're frozen. So let's see if we can hear. Perry, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can see you. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then she can let me know if we can hear her. So I'm going to put it on me for right now as we figure that out. Um, so, uh, so like for instance, yesterday somebody sent me a text message yesterday, and in the text message, they're basically filling an event, and he said, basically he said, I know what I would do differently next time. And I'm like, what do you mean next time? Like, what about right now? Like, what can you do right now instead of playing this game with ourselves that, like, this is what I've learned next time? It's like when you're in the middle of the thing that you're trying to create in your life, when you're in the middle and, like, all poop is hitting the storm or all poop is hitting the walls and it's like nothing's working, you can't just sit back in the middle. Like, you're like playing a game with yourself. If you sit back in the middle and you say, okay, well, this is what I learned for next time. It's like, no, you're in it right now. And when you're in it right now, this is where the magic happens. This is where literally you put yourself in a position where you have the success story that you're looking for. So I just want to encourage you that, first of all, I hope to God you're in the shit right now. You're trying to create something so big that you have no idea. You're at like 2 and you got to hit like 500, meaning you got 2 people enrolled and you got to hit 500 to change the world with your product, service, or whatever. And you got to do that in the next like 3 months. How are you going to create that? Like, I mean, like, you're in it. Like, there's no possible way that this thing could ever work for you, and you're in it. That's the place I want you to live in. That's the place I want you to live in. If you can live in that place, and instead of like going, oh, this is what I've learned while I'm in it, and you can actually take, like, right now, today, the next hour, and create a movement towards it that's extraordinary, you're going to find that you will learn more about yourself and how to create magical, huge, like, massive goals in short periods of time all the time. So here's what I'm trying to say to you is that when you look at someone like Elon Musk, and I know that it's hard to relate to some of these guys, right? Or Oprah or any of these people. And sometimes it's like, I know there's like this, like, they're there and you're here. And it's like, but it's not. It's like, they started thinking like this. They started to test the waters of what does it look like to be at the right place at the right time. That might feel like a four-leaf clover, but I think that's your relationship with God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. Every great person that I know that has blown up massively, they've had these moments where they've literally said, there was like a little bit of luck connected to this. Like there's definitely a higher power. There's definitely something outside of me that has added like a quantum leap to what it is that I'm doing. It's like, how do you control that? You can't. This is why when you're overly intense or you put too much pressure on yourself when you're creating a vision or a goal, this is why you don't leave room at that point for this energy to come into your life and quantum leap you. So I invite you to be determined today without the intensity or the pressure. You'll know that you're in intensity or pressure because there's a level of you that will be short with people, or you'll have this attitude like, I don't have time. So there's someone that, and hopefully they're not watching this and feel bad about this, but I feel like it's important to share. There's someone that I actually paid to go do my leadership training at the end of last year. And this person, I just could see them. I knew they would never invest in the program because they were so far away from believing in themselves. But I could see them as being someone who could really change the world. And so I walked up to them at one of our masterminds and I said, I see you and I'm going to comp this program for you. And I put them in the program. And I don't think any of our clients know that I did this with this person. And they went through the program and literally he made $19,000 in just a couple months. Oh, there's Perry. Hold on one second. He made $19,000 in just a couple months. And I went back and I said to him yesterday, I said, I want you to come back and staff because, and by the way, Perry's done this program too, because 60% of the program is in staffing. And the message, I haven't listened to the full message, but the beginning of the message was, oh my God, thank you for believing me. I'm so excited. However, I can't imagine coming back to San Diego and spending that much time. Right. And I'm going, oh my God, like you don't understand, like the game of success is about getting outside your comfort zone, which you've heard a million times, and giving. And when you show up like that, things just start to explode around you. So Perry, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to get on.
Finally. I don't know if it's because it's snowing here, some weird connections, but I made it.
I know. Okay. It's going to be kind of weird, you guys, because I'm going to shift gears right in the middle of all this and transition into Perry. But you might have a couple things to say about that. Like when you're out there pushing and giving and trying to create a result in life. I mean, you're definitely someone who a lot of your connections have happened from the relationships, right? Like
yes.
You have great relationships, which means that like you've had to be a certain person, you know what I mean? To be able to create that next level. Like I was sharing how I comped one of our clients into HCL and this guy's a rock star and he was able to create $19,000 cash in like the practice level in a couple months, right? And he's never been able to create cash with me for 2 years, right? Like just couldn't get out of his own way. Does the work, creates cash. I invite him back because to come and contribute, which then he'll grow even stronger. And he can't imagine taking the time out of his life to go do that. Speak into that for a second, and not to make him wrong, but to say how much of this is a mistake so many people make in the pursuit of success.
Right. You never give up. I mean, you never have, and it always takes that extra mile. I know whenever things are not, your outside circumstances is a reflection of your inner reality, right? So something is not working on the outside. If you're not making the money, if you're not making connections, you're not on your project, then something's going on inside. So I always look inside me and say, what's causing me to limit myself?
Yeah.
And that's what keeps taking the excuses away, because it's really up to us. It's an inside job.
Yeah. Well, you've created some off the charts results in your life. You're even doing that right now in one of our programs, which is so cool. I'm having
fun.
I know, so cool. But like, let's kind of go back for a second. I read your text to them at the beginning of when you were trying to get on, and just all these like World 5000 from the boyfriend on QVS, like all this stuff. Like, give us a little snippet of a background, because we don't have that much longer to being able to chat, but give us a little snippet of the background and share like the whole concept here for this week is like, how do you find the money?
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so go.
Yeah, I love that concept because you know what? I find finding the money is really about creativity. I mean, that's something you and I talked about. What moves me, and that's something I want to say to you guys is, you know, what generates not the fact you just want to make money, it's like why? What's your why? What moves you to it, right? Right now, with the Summit series for me, I want to buy a second home in California. I want to live next door to Shanda. And more vacation time with my kids.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my past, I think what it's always been is whenever hardships happened, I wanted to turn it around. I mean, I was always from that belief of, you know, when you get lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah.
And so that's always been the impetus of me moving forward. And with QVC, it was really interesting because I was so flat broke. I did not have a job. I was one of those actresses in LA trying to make it happen. And my boyfriend at the time was a very successful actor, and he was making all kinds of money, and I'm living with him, and you know, it's one of those things. And so
I've had that story too.
yeah, right. And I remember one day, it's going to be really funny. There was a piece of the telephone cord in my apartment at the time before I moved in with him, and I put it in my hair, and I noticed at the end of the day I still had it, and it wasn't hurting me. So I thought, let's put some fabric around it and create something, and I called it the Wrap It. And you guys might have heard about this. This was in the early 90s. So I borrowed $5,000 from my boyfriend at the time, you know, came up with a prototype, went to QVC, waited in line to meet, you know, all the buyers, and they bought the Wrap It. And they thought, you know what, we're going to try it. We're going to take a chance on you. So I went on air during the election night, and we sold out 10,000 units. So in one night, I went from $5,000 borrowed money to $200,000, literally overnight. Well, what's so funny about that is I learned how to talk, you know, quickly on camera, and because of the QVC gig, helped me get the gig that I got at E. So I was at E for 10 years, all because I wanted to be creative. I wanted to take a chance and try something new. So you never know which one, you know, little project that you're going to do, how it's going to turn into something else.
Yeah.
So take a chance.
Yeah, I think that's so fascinating. What did you do at E? So everybody knows.
I was a host. There was a show called Coming Attractions, and I was Perry Jones back then, and worked for E for about 10 years in Entertainment Tonight. And, you know, it was amazing gig. But at the same time, I still had that entrepreneurial spirit. So from the Wrap It, I started another company called High Heels and Loafers because my partner always wore loafers and I wore high heels. And we created and went into business with Cheryl Teagues and Ulla Hendrickson and Lorette Carroll. And we created 3 infomercials, which ended up being monsters. And it was all because, and my partner and I talk about that, it was all because we went inside and said, what's creative? You know, what's something that gets us excited? And from that, you know, came out this whole deal. So now I'm reinventing myself with you, with coaching.
Yeah.
And, you know, creating a business with this. So I'm pretty excited.
It's so exciting. You know, I'm reading Brendan Burchard's right now, one of his books, and I'm using his agenda. And one of the things that he said that high performers do, because high performers, they perform at a high level always, like they have sustained endurance, they have endurance. And one of the things that he does and he recommends that people do is before they do the next activity, is to literally ask themselves, how do I want to feel? Like,
Yes.
what is going to get me excited and how do I want to feel? So there's just this level of intention before they go through anything. So he talks about on every transition in the day to just stop for a moment and go, how do I want to feel when I walk in the house to my husband or my wife? How do I want, like, what's the result that I want to create out of that feeling? And I've been doing it for like just really the last couple of weeks. And it's pretty awesome how like that, because it's like so high performers, like they live in a level of enthusiasm, which is so funny because when I see somebody, you know, operating at a certain level of success and they lack enthusiasm, I'm like, if I could just dial that up,
Yeah.
it's like the vibration goes. So I want to share something personal with you too, just from the sake of like finding the money and finding any result that you want. You know, you went through a section in your life where you were trying to have children and you were not able to have children. And you had children at a much later age in life, right?
I did.
Just snip it only from the context of like, I mean, money is, it's babies, it's money, it's a relationship, it's your second house in California. It's like all it is a next activity that you're actually working on. So many people have so many limiting beliefs around this.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's that same spirit of never giving up. And as you talked about a feeling, I visualized that baby. I had dreams. I met my two children before they even came in. And I think it was really, you know, manifestation, the power of manifestation. You don't just see it and visualize it, you feel it,
Yeah.
right? So it comes deep within inside your heart. And when you get that feeling, and I would spend days just thinking about holding that little baby and realizing that it's a possibility. And I went to a doctor, and it was funny because everybody else gave up on me. You know, you're too old, you're too old, you're too old. But I never lost my dream. I never lost that vision and that feeling of being a mama. And it finally came true, and it truly was a miracle. I mean, I had Louis when I was 44, and I had Saba when I was 46.
Yeah.
So I'm an older mom, you know, now, but I think it's exactly what you said, Shanda. It's that feeling that you know it's going to happen. You know that you know that you know. And you don't give up on it. And if it doesn't manifest that way, it can manifest in another way. But you can still get what you want, you know. And it's like you said, money is just a tool, right, to get what we really want. And it's kind of a relationship with money. I don't know if you guys know Morgana Ray, but she's a good friend of mine. She's a money coach, right? And she taught me something when I went to Bali with her. She said, all right, money can either be a monster to you, or it can be a lover. So which one?
It's the one thing that I think she talks about that I think is really powerful.
Yeah, and what it does, it's just that feeling within. So it's what it does create is, instead of being fear, you know, having fear around money, it's having that love and knowing that you have a positive relationship with you. It's just going to help you get what you really want inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some people are going to ask, you had both those babies naturally.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Which is super powerful, with lots of backstory of it not working and not working and not working.
Nine miscarriages.
Yeah.
So a lot of failures.
Yeah. And the reason why I think this is important is because, like, people who follow us obviously are mostly trying to build businesses, or they're in careers that they don't want to be in anymore, and they're contemplating the jump. Right. And so it's like, you know, it's like, I guess it's like, I always look to stories like that for anything that I'm creating in my life, because most people look to all the stories that people have failed, and why it's like a pin in, you know, a needle in a haystack to be able to win. And that's just not the case. The quicker you fail, the quicker you get to the win. And so it's like, how much quicker can you change your relationship with failure? Like, I shared yesterday that that I was pregnant and I had a miscarriage, and, you know, I'm still testing pregnant. I'm just so confused, right? I'm still testing pregnant, and I'm going to the doctor next Friday. But it's like, you know, it sounds funny, but it's like, I didn't even, like, it wasn't even like the first one, this is my second one. The first miscarriage was like, oh, you know, and the next one, I just have developed a relationship with this part of failure. You know what I mean? Like, just like I've done in my business, it's like when I go do a campaign, like, we have a huge campaign coming up in May, an online show, and we're looking to have 200,000 people register for this. And, like, if it bombs, like, I'm totally, like, excited for it to bomb. If it succeeds, holy cow, I can only imagine how crazy I'm going to be inside, right? And so we want to pitch this to Netflix, and there's like playing to fail conversation in a good way, right? Like, it's like, how can you change your relationship with this so that you can go find the money today for whatever it is that you need? Like, money is easy to find, but will you do what it takes? Like, will you have 9 miscarriages, you know? Or do you give up after 2 and say, I just can't do this anymore, right? Will you, you know, the person who's trying to fill an event, you know, for next week, will you, like, make a commitment to have 10 more tickets sold today, or 3, right? And then And then, like, will you turn yourself out to do that? Will you go out on the street and knock on like businesses' doors and tell them you're doing this, and like even give them a refundable ticket to be in the room? Like, will you do whatever it takes to be able to hit your declaration? And if you won't, then honestly, I don't even think you do good in a job.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I just don't. I just think you live a mediocre life, and there's a part of you that will always feel a little lost or dead or unfulfilled.
Yeah,
So,
and Shanda, I would say in the morning, ritual is really important. I talked
yeah.
to Dr. Silva Dvorak, and she talked about the importance of ritual, especially for women. And in the morning, when you set that intention and you look inside, and maybe you feel crappy that day, maybe you don't have the energy. We all feel that way. But look at what is the limiting belief and overcome it. So take it in baby steps. Clear those limiting beliefs. And it's really easy to do that. It's just something you acknowledge it. You say, thank you for showing up. I got the message, but I've got this. And we're going to take it another step further. So sometimes you just have to check in with yourself with that mindset. So do I have a mindset of manifestation? And do I have a mindset of generosity? And not only generous to other people, because you were talking about relationships that I have. I never ask somebody for something without me then coming back and saying, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? And then it's, I love this book that you turned me on to, Go Giver. It's my new Bible too. And it really is, it's a universal law. It's a God law. Whatever seeds you plant is the harvest you're going to get. So if you plant seeds of self-doubt, of low energy, or thinking you don't deserve it, all of that, that's what you're going to reap. But if you change the mindset and say, wait a minute, no, I'm a winner, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to clear any limiting beliefs inside of me and start over, then it's a clean slate. So we have the gift of a day, each new day. At the end of it, God gives us 24 hours and we can reset it at any point.
Yeah. And I'd like to actually, since you brought that up, I'd love to bring up the relationship with God really quickly, because you've had a relationship with God for a long time and not just a transient one, like in the Bible, in scripture. Can you share a little bit about that and how that's helped?
Yes. Started at an early age when I was 6 years old. My mother was an atheist and my dad was an agnostic. And briefly, my mom was mentally ill. And so she was put away in a mental ward for 3 years, and I knocked on the door of a Baptist preacher and started going to church. And that's where I found my faith. I mean, I found God, and it really, he did become my higher power. And I never felt alone. So whenever I do any projects or anything in my life, I do co-partnership with God. Yeah. And I really do ask in the morning, is this something you want me to do? If it isn't, then put some kind of barrier there for me and let me know, steer me in another direction. But I always know that when it's from God inside or co-partnership with God, that it's something that will help other people. It's not only helping me. It's not just about making money for me or a second home and all those things. Those are nice things. But it's about how can I serve people? And that is really something that was instilled in me, I think, at an early age with my faith in God. So.
Well, and so there's a piece that I think some people might grab onto, and if you guys are loving this, please comment and tell us what you're loving. And then Perry, I think it would be awesome for maybe you go back on the thread and comment a little bit on the page so that people can even get connected to you. But it's like, I think something that could be a place that people could hide is that when you ask God to put a barrier in front of you and direct you in another way, that barrier, I could already see it. Okay, nothing came together for this project that I was working on. It's a barrier. God doesn't want me to do it. I hear it all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much about that. It's always the same. It's never giving up. It's never, well, God told me not to do it and nothing's happening, so I'm going to stop. What I say by barriers is sometimes when you keep trying to do something that you think is what you're supposed to be doing and you keep getting closed doors in that direction, closed doors. Instead of pounding your head on that closed door, just shift the needle a little bit. Same project, but just go through a different door or a different window until it opens up and becomes accessible. Doesn't mean you just give up and say, oh, okay, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Go lay in bed.
You've prayed and wanted this opportunity, and now it's in front of you.
Yes.
At some level, even if you're not a prayer, at some level you were like, I really want this. And I believe that pull is coming from, it's a leadership that's happening in your life, and then it's up to you to show up and put the activity behind it. There was something I was going to ask you really quickly, and now I can't remember. I just lost it. It's gone. Any final words that you want to share with anybody?
I think something that's come up that I was thinking about is sometimes I see with people that I coach with and my clients, what really stops them is the feeling that they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
If they want to have wild success, there's a little bit of part of them, if they're having some problems, jump starting or completing something, I always go back inside and I say, what is it that's stopping you? What is it that makes you feel like you don't deserve it? Mm-hmm. And particularly with women, we do that. And I just am here to tell you, just when you do that, just pause, say a little prayer, get into some meditation, say, wait a minute, what's stopping me? Why am I stopping myself? And then clear that limiting belief, and then you'll just see everything open up, because the universe is conspiring for you. All right, it's conspiring for you to make it and to live this beautiful life that you were born to live. So that's just one of the things that I would say, is to really look within all the time whenever you find some places that you feel a stopping towards.
Yeah, and surround yourself around amazing people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because when you don't have the willpower to be able to create what you want to create in life, and I echo what Perry says, like, I co-create with God all the time. I mean, I don't feel alone in my projects. In fact, even when we put, aspirations up on the board and declare what we're going to do in the year, I laugh, because I like to temper God. I like to, well, you know what? That's awesome, but let's just bring it down a few notches, And, year after year after year, I keep surrendering into being obedient. And so I just want to share with you, like, if you still feel like you're doing it on your own, then there's some sort of a disconnection that I welcome you to get reconnected. And some of the questions that Perry's asking you to ask yourself with clearing these limiting beliefs and things like that, when you go at it from a place of thinking that you are the only one, it really feels alone. In scripture, it talks about community, talks about prayer, and it talks about your input in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't get to just sit back and go, it's not coming together. There's a huge reward for trusting. There's a huge reward for being obedient and going over the obstacles. You know what I mean? Like, shifting and going around them, but still being committed to actually go where you're being called to go. And when you're obedient like that, it's like somewhere along the path, it's like the doors start to just massively open. Yeah. And it's like that supernatural experience starts to happen in whatever project you're working on. And it's just like you look back and go, how did I get here? Like, yeah, I don't feel like there's a part of you that really, it's like, I don't feel like I deserve to be here. But somehow you forgot about that thought. Mm-hmm. So you got here. And so then you got to work again on letting go of that thought of deserve. Like, it's not about you. Nothing is about you. And the sooner you connect into realizing your business, your time, it is not about you. So generously go out there and give in your business, give to people. And when people give to you, give to them on an even bigger level. And then if you want to start the prosperity game, read The Go-Giver that Perry's got next to her. And literally, I mean, that's a great book. And literally the book puts you through these 5 different laws that you go do every day that you read it. And you literally create a momentum of giving that creates that overflow back. So it's very easy to get some level of success and then go, I'm busy, right? I'm busy. I can't come back and give because I'm busy trying to hold it all together. It's like, oh, Jesus, it's going backwards from there, right? So it's like the game is to keep expanding. So Perry,
I just want to add one more thing that came up for me. Watch your words.
Yes.
Words are so powerful. Words are energy. And even if you're trying to manifest and you're envisioning it and you're, feeling it and you're acting on it, but then you're telling somebody else about doubts and fears and all that stuff, that's energy that goes against you. So really watch your words, because the words are energy and it carries you. It's like the vehicle for manifestation. So that's an important thing. I have to watch my words all the time.
We all do.
Right? And
negativity is contagious. This is why the community that you spend your time with and who you're spending your time with makes a really big difference, And again, just kind of bring it back to Brendan Burchard for a second. He talks about like when in a moment that you either feel nervous or you've got negativity around you, you have to stop again, and it's not about you. You need to shift and give, right? And so when you operate from that standpoint, things just start to come together. So we went definitely longer today. This is like a theme on how to find the money. I'm like always on time and never on time this week. So I forgive myself for that. So thanks you guys for tuning in. And if you want to ask a question or comment or anything like that in the comment thread, then Perry will go back in and I will also go back in today and we'll answer. And then if you want to connect with Perry, you can do that. And you can also get your questions answered. So Perry, thanks. I absolutely love you. We'll be playing in Sun Valley next month together.
Yay!
Here's to just living an extraordinary life together, and all of us together. Okay, I'll see you 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Bye, guys.